Hello everyone, I'm Debojit Das and welcome to Courts Today by LiveLaw, your daily guide to the most important legal developments from across India. From landmark judgments to high-profile controversies, we break down the news in a way that's clear, engaging and accessible. Let's dive into today's top stories from the courts. Starting with Ladakh activist and education reformer Sonam Wangchuk, whose wife, Dr. Gitanjali Angmo, has filed a habeas corpus petition under Article 32, challenging his detention under the National Security Act or NSA. Wangchuk was detained on September 26th following protests in Ladakh demanding statehood for the region. And since then, his family has been left in the dark about his condition and the grounds for his detention. In her petition, Dr. Angmo highlighted the urgent need for clarity on her husband's health, welfare and the legality of his continued confinement. The Supreme Court has yet to take up the matter, but it is expected to hear the case urgently after the Dussehra vacation ends on October 6th. This case highlights the tension between national security provisions and individual liberties yet again. The NSA allows preventive detention for up to 12 months in some cases without immediate judicial oversight, which makes judicial review crucial to ensure fundamental rights are protected. The Supreme Court will have to consider whether the detention complies with procedural safeguards and whether Wangchuk's rights to liberty and due process under the Constitution are being respected. For now, all eyes are on the top court as this case could set an important precedent for the application of preventive detention laws in India, especially when it involves activists raising regional or political concerns. Moving on, the Competition Commission of India has launched a formal investigation into PVR Inox over its continued practice of charging the virtual print fee or VPF from film producers, which is a fee introduced long ago for transitioning cinemas from physical film reels to digital projection. Even though Indian cinema largely moved to digital by 2014, filmmakers say PVR Inox keeps imposing VPF, fees as high as 27,500 per film per screen, and in a discriminatory fashion too. The complaint was brought by the Film and Television Producers Guild of India, representing over 170 producers who alleged small and independent studios are disproportionately burdened while some big players and Hollywood studios get waivers. In its prima facie order, that is the initial view, the CCI observed that PVR Inox holds a dominant position in multiplex exhibition, controlling many screens and a large share of box office revenue. The CCI flagged that continuing to demand VPF long after the digital transition costs should have been amortized. As a result, it suspects it may amount to an abuse of dominance under Section 4, Subsection 2 of the Competition Act of 2002. It also said imposing VPF as a supplementary condition without providing any new service could be unfair and may be a violation under Section 3, Subsection 4, relating to discriminatory or unfair trade practices. Because of these concerns, CCI directed its Director General to investigate and submit a report within 90 days. Two other companies named in the complaint, UFO Movies and Cube Cinema, were not included in the probe because similar allegations against them were already addressed in an earlier case. If the investigation confirms violation, PVR Inox could face penalties, be ordered to change its fee practices or offer refunds to producers. This probe could mark a turning point in how multiplex chains deal with filmmakers, especially the smaller ones trying to break it into the system. Moving on to the Allahabad High Court that clarified that everyday marital discord or domestic tension, even if deeply hurtful, does not automatically amount to abetment of suicide under Section 306 of the Indian Penal Code, unless there is a clear evidence of instigation or encouragement. In the case before the court, a husband died by suicide and an FIR was filed against his wife and her parents, alleging harassment, insults, and statements like, "he should die." At the Sessions Court level, they had refused to discharge the accused, but the High Court reversed that. It held that mere harsh words or quarrels without more cannot satisfy the legal requirement of instigation. To convict under Section 306, the evidence must show not just cruelty or insult, but a causal link between the accused's conduct and the victim's decision to take his own life. Here, the High Court found no material to support that link, no proof that the wife or her parents provoked or coerced him into suicide, and held that the allegations were insufficient. It set aside the lower court's refusal and discharged the accused. This ruling reinforces that criminal law should not be stretched to penalize spouses based merely on conflict or hurt in relationships. Abetment requires something more harmful, deliberate and direct. Staying with the Allahabad High Court that rejected an application by a convict who was absconding for nearly 30 years seeking to recall his 2025 conviction in a 1982 murder case. The accused argued that he was not present during major parts of the trial and deserved reconsideration. The court firmly held that when someone remains in hiding for decades, the legal system cannot be indefinitely stalled in the name of equity. It said that courts must preserve the integrity of judgments and that allowing a recall in such circumstances would set a dangerous precedent. Furthermore, the bench observed that the convict had full opportunity in earlier appeals and no fresh compelling ground was made out now to disturb the conviction. Next up, the Gujarat High Court has approved a partial demolition of a mosque to accommodate a road widening project, but only after applying a careful procedure to balance public interest and religious rights. The case arose in Vadodara, where the municipal authority proposed to cut parts of the mosque's compound wall and outer spaces to expand an adjacent road. The mosque's management challenged it, arguing that demolition would violate religious freedom under Article 25 of the Constitution. The High Court, however, held that religious structures can be subjected to reasonable restrictions, especially when they impede public utility projects, so long as the process is fair. The court directed that demolition must be limited to what's strictly necessary, minimizing intrusion and preserving as much of the mosque's structure as possible. The demolition must be done under supervision, ensuring the mosque's core religious aspects remain intact. In approving the partial demolition, the court has attempted a balance. Roads and infrastructure are vital, but not at the cost of wholly ignoring religious sanctity. And finally, the Himachal Pradesh High Court clarified that postgraduate diploma does not equate to a postgraduate degree for promotion purposes under the Himachal Pradesh Medical Education Service Rules of 1999. The case involved Dr. Sunil Dutt, who completed his MBBS in 2006 and later obtained a postgraduate diploma in 2014. He served as a senior resident for 3 years before completing his MD in 2024. Dr. Dutt applied for promotion to the position of assistant professor, arguing that his teaching experience post-diploma should count towards the eligibility criteria, which require a postgraduate degree plus 3 years of experience in teaching. The Departmental Promotion Committee rejected his application and the High Court upheld this decision. The court emphasized that the service rules explicitly mention a postgraduate degree as the minimum qualification, and there is no provision for a diploma to be considered equivalent. Therefore, Dr. Dutt's teaching experience gained after the diploma but before the MD did not fulfill the requisite criteria. This judgment stressed on importance of adhering strictly to prescribed qualifications in promotion matters, reinforcing that diplomas and degrees are distinct qualifications under the law. And that's a wrap for Courts Today. Stay informed, stay curious, and keep following LiveLaw for accurate, up-to-date coverage of all major legal developments across the country. I'm Devojit Das, and we'll see you again tomorrow with more stories from the courts.